Well guys, it's that time of the year again. Time to highlight another awesome training semester at the One Shepherd Leadership Institute. If you're not familiar with the One Shepherd Leadership Institute, I've covered it extensively over the past couple years on my channel, and you can find those videos in my One Shepherd video playlist. Just as a quick recap, One Shepherd for whatever reason has been one of the best kept secrets since the early 80s. A couple years ago I was invited by one of their staff members, Mike Klein, at the One Shepherd Leadership Institute to take part in one of their training semesters. Taking them up partially on that offer, my buddy Bruce and I went up there to take part in their final culminating event of each training semester, which is their 3-day long extensive field training exercise, or FTX. The FTX is an over 48-hour continuous simulated military operation where two opposing forces are tasked with missions from their respective hire. The whole thing is unscripted and anything can happen. After going through the FTX that year, I was thoroughly impressed with their program and their organization. I then decided in the subsequent year to attend the whole training semester, which included the Basic Warriors course, the Situational Training Exercise, and finally, another FTX. To clarify, this organization is not just some random milsim event. Think of One Shepherd as more of a formal school with coursework and curriculum. There are a total of 6 different semesters at One Shepherd. Each of those 6 semesters offers different courses such as Land Navigation and Light Leaders course, as well as different situational training exercises that focus on several different tactical proficiency skill sets such as ambush and reconnaissance. The field training exercises at the end of each semester put all that material you covered during the week into real practical application against a determined enemy. The experience is like no other, and in my opinion, it's the closest you can get on the civilian side of the house when it comes to experiencing real-world military operations. So now it's time for the spring 2019 semester. This was an exceptionally exciting year for 2 reasons. The first was that this was the very first time One Shepherd as an organization had stood up a Bravo company on the East Coast and was holding their first training event in West Virginia, as opposed to their normal location in Missouri. Secondly, I was given the unprecedented opportunity by the staff at One Shepherd, based on my training experience as an infantryman and a staff non-commissioned officer in the United States Marine Corps, to become a Green Hat instructor in their program. This was an opportunity I was honored and humbled to take up. So here we go now, May 2019, and flying out to West Virginia to help instruct at One Shepherd for the very first Bravo Company training semester. The training for Bravo Company was going to be held at Summit Point, West Virginia at the BSR compound. The BSR is a large area that hosts all kinds of training events involving vehicles, so you'll hear tires squealing and gunshots in the background. First day of the Basic Warriors course covers basic fundamentals such as the AR-15 weapons handling and manipulations. As the day progresses, you move into communications devices, some land navigation, night vision, and individual moving techniques. By the end of the day, your fire team rushing an enemy position and conducting night patrols.
And you've got leaves or something blocking your sat, kind of matters for us too. What's the last one? Don't point at anything you're not willing to destroy. Say what? Or in the case of a 9mm boom. Okay, that's good. So what's really awkward, or maybe awkward for some of you, is that later on today we're actually going to be pointing these at each other, which is kind of weird because they're real rifles, guys. Okay? We all just did a safety check. You saw my open bolt. I saw yours. You're all good there. So now with those 4 firearms rules out of the way, let's talk about how we interact with this weapon safely with those in mind. I may ask you to intentionally violate those for the sake of demonstration today, and I may do stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable. We've all established that these are unloaded, okay?
Ensuring that your barrel is pointed in the safe direction, go ahead and rotate that safety lever to the firing position, and go ahead and depress the trigger. All right. Now at this time, the hammer has dropped, okay? You're not gonna be able to put that safety back on until you charge the weapon. So go ahead and take your charging handle. You'll notice on the left side of your charging handle is a little lever. That has to be depressed, okay? So what you can do, you can either do it with one finger, all right? Or you can hold it with 2 fingers, all right? But either way, you have to depress this lever here, pull the charging handle all the way to the rear, and then let go. All right, it's called slingshot. All right, you're gonna slingshot it. At no time will you pull this back and then ride it forward. If you do that with the magazine inserted with rounds in the magazine, what's gonna happen is you're not gonna have enough force to fully chamber that round, right? So it might end up causing a malfunction. Last round fired. ready? Engage. Alright, good. Go ahead and clear them out. Happens in real life, happens all the time. Alright? When a malfunction happens, it isn't the end of the world, right? You have to clear that malfunction and get that gun back up in the fight. Alright? So, first thing we're going to talk about is immediate action. Right? Immediate action. Who's ever heard of tap, rack, bang? Right? Or you might have heard it said tap, rack, assess. In this particular case, we had a failure to extract a round, right? So we still have a round in there, whether it's fired or spent. We got a round inside the chamber. We've loaded, another round has been loaded right behind it, okay? Does everybody see that? So if I'm engaging and I get a dead trigger and I look and observe and I see this, all right? If you put this in your shoulder, you can see that problem. Shooters ready? Fire! When you're done, send your bolt home, put your weapon on safe. Literally, imagine if you got rounds coming right over the top of you. You want to be sucking that earth.
I'll do it, dude. You don't have to do this. All right.
I mean, since you insist.
Right. So it's grazing fire. Grazing fire is no higher than 1 meter off the ground. So that's hip high. No higher. Grazing fire can be much lower. So that, yeah. Low crawl is.
I hate low.
Thing up here. So I'm grabbing this up here. Protect my muzzle.
Notice how his hand has a hold of his sling, right? He's not even actually holding his weapon, but his weapon is braced up on his forearm, right? So it's out of the dirt. He's protecting his weapon from the elements, but he's at the same time he's down into the ground. So if rounds are coming over him, no higher. He's talking about grazing fire. Who remembers that line from Red Dawn? What's grazing fire? Wait for that. So he's still moving, right? But he's keeping his body as low as humanly possible. All right, so that's what we mean by low crawl, right? Everybody see how his weapon is? He's moving because he has to move. He's taking fire. He's trying to get from point A to point B without getting shot. All right, so he's got a little bit more safe area, and now he's going to transition to a high crawl. All right, so he has a little bit more room to work with. He can move, he can see where he's needing to look around where he's going, but notice he's still maintaining a very low profile, right? So when you're out there during the FTX or STX and you're snooping and pooping, right, you're not taking enemy contact, you're probably gonna be employing this individual movement technique.
Right, so a high crawl is still like grazing fire, but you know, for whatever reason, you're watching impact, you're watching tracers, you see, okay, it's above grazing, so it's above the waist. This is when it's like, you know, it's by watching tracer and impact, let's say 2 meters, head high and above, right? So,
So you're staying below waist level.
yeah, right. Okay. You don't want to get your head up. Just take it head on.
Bear crawl.
Yeah, bear crawl, and there's lots of variations I've seen of it, you know, stuff. The point is you're on your knees and stuff. But you're right, you don't want to get too high, because rifle fire is one thing, but machine gun fire fires in a cone. And it actually has a cone of impact. And so you're going, oh, well, one round, he's way up there. Well, yeah, that's where the average round is, but you know, there's variance, right? And so when you come up, you take it in head.
Movement without cover is what? It's death, right? It's suicide. Right? So we always want to make sure that we have buddies covering our movement, right? And then when you get done moving, you're going to cover for your buddy. But at the same time, you only want to expose yourself to the enemy. I mean, you have to expose yourself to the enemy in order to move, right? So you want to minimize the amount of time the enemy has to engage you. So the way we process this is we say a little ditty in our head. I'm up, he sees me, I'm down, right? So what's gonna happen is when it's this individual warfighter's turn to rush, right? He's gonna get up, and the second he starts to get up, that clock is starting, right? Because the second he gets up, guess what? The enemy what? Sees him, right? So he starts moving, I'm up, he sees me, I'm down, right? In that amount of time, you should have been able to cover probably about 5 meters or so, right?
Ready, weapon on safe. I'm up. He sees me. I'm down. Set.
All right, so now he's set. What is he doing now? He's covering his buddies, right? So if this is an active situation, right now he'd be engaging the enemy position or the enemy target.
Like this. Enemy.
On day 2, you'll start out learning about the hasty attack, hasty ambush, reacting to near ambushes, and lastly, how to break contact.
You go like this, up here from your elbow. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So this is if it's down, it's 6 through 10. If it's up, it's 1 through 5. That's why that elbow is important. So you do it out here or
and
here.
If it's any more than that, we're fucking out of there.
Yeah, right, for a squad, I would say so. And then you just simply give what it is. What are you counting? So you gave me enemy, right? Got that, guys? It's enemy. You said there's 5 of them. And now you're going to say infantry. Or you're going to say tank.
Or vehicle.
Or vehicle, yeah. Very, very often, I forget what it's like 50% of the time, the ambush team is detected by its prey. And what gives it away in the daytime, absolutely number one thing, is movement. You know, you're down behind a log and someone's like, hey, they're coming. And they're not moving their eyes, they're moving their whole head. They're camouflage up, they got artillery netting and leaves all over them. They've done this wonderful camouflage and they're like, I'm not kidding, guys, they're really coming. You should get ready. And this is
flagging.
Right, and movement is what the human eye sees. And so that's what most people say, yeah, I saw a boonie hat move. I saw a helmet move. I saw some artillery netting going. Like, you know, okay. And that's just unnatural, and that's what they see, and so they detect it. At night, you hear, it's typically voices, okay, or snapping and popping, right? And so that's how you detect it. And that's important, because detecting the ambush...
Or a bunch of safeties going...
Yeah, that's another way I've heard, safeties. Or they use an open bolt machine gun to initiate and it slams forward on an empty chamber. You hear all of these things.
Double rack.
And that's why I said, when you hear that slam forward, don't go, oh my squad leader said he was gonna open up with the machine guns. I'll just watch it. They got a malfunction. I'll wait for them to fix that before I open fire. Yeah, this is not a good idea, right? So when you're moving, here's the mistake people do. We're going to practice the drill, and I'll show you why it's the drill, but the mistake people do is they wait for the squad leader to tell them what to do. And that's a fatal mistake. Oh, did you hear that big snap? Wow. Someone should tell the squad leader. I am going to send him a very carefully worded text message when we come to our next break. They're waiting. They're like, wow, I think that's obvious, bad guys. They really, truly do this. They're like, yeah, that's probably an ambush. No, they're just not written. They just keep walking into it. Sneaky, so there's some noise here. So there is a risk. But the fact is, when you think you're snap pop, or I hear what I distinctly think is a furniture hitting wood, a bolt sliding, you know, people do that. And they're like, oh shit. Or, oh shit.
And there's 4 of those.
Yeah, you'll hear these. You'll hear those safeties come off. Do not, that's safeties, and you're going, shit, that's a safety, 12 meters over there. You know what the fuck that means.
Then we assault through the ambush.
Assault through it. You just start, take off and ambush right, and you start shooting, right? And if you don't have anything to hit and shoot at yet, you just run over there and a turkey pops up or a couple deer run away, then you go, oh, fuck. Don't be embarrassed. You're protecting your patrol. And the deer, I don't know, barked at you or something and they freaked you out. Good. Just do it. Do not wait for your leaders to tell you that you walked into a kill zone.
And that means we're pretty sneaky if we snuck up on a deer.
Happened.
Yeah, it happens.
Deer and fawn, yeah.
It has. Yeah. All right, questions about that? Okay. That's react to ambush.
All right, sir. Command is break contact. All right, break contact. Team one. Cover. Covering. Back. Team two set. Covering. Set. Covering. Move back. Team one.
Cover fire, Alpha.
Down. Set. Covering. Team two. Move back. Team two moving. Rolling. Team two set. Covering. Set. Cover. Move up. Move down.
On deck. Squad break contact.
Down.
Covering.
Team two moving.
Move back to the road. Break contact. We're trolling.
All right, good.
Final training event of the Basic Warriors course is a force on force lane. This event finally puts the students against one another where they are divided into two separate squads. An added training element to this though is that the guys that are returning students that are going through the Light Leaders course are now joining the Basic Warriors course students and going through this lane. However, these guys are learning the fighter leader concept. To accomplish this, they are sent into the scenario with no weapon. This is done to reinforce the point that their fire team is their weapon, and that they need to focus on controlling and maneuvering their team during contact.
Yes, I want, yes, exactly. Got it. Good. So we want to make them think that we're in force in the woods, and we got these two guys moving up the outside.
So we're in line. We make contact. We maintain contact and
you guys are going to make
until we see
you
them
guys
sweep.
make some noise over here. You guys be real quiet, and if you have to, fucking crawl the way down.
We'll crawl.
So after
Okay,
they
guys.
And you.
Take off your hat if you're dead!
John, where you at?
Right here, drag.
Leo! Leo, where's the line? Okay, good.
Bravo, right there! Bravo! Go get a safety kill.
25 meters. Down, get down.
He's out of ammo, that guy.
Alpha, break contact! Alpha, break contact!
Alpha, break contact!
Move!
Push, get down, stay low. Go, get him, fire. Contact front, get him. Shoot the back.
Safety kill!
Safety kill him. Push, keep pushing. Flank him from the left. Go. pushing.
Ready?
Stay low, stay low. Covering fire. Suppressive fire. Stay low.
Light him up.
Bravo's out of ammo. Keep moving.
Right there, Dale. You're too close. Too down. Too close.
Gun down.
At the completion of this event, a hot wash is conducted where the students and instructors come together to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly, and pretty much just about everything that took place.
How'd it go, bud?
It was, awesome. Just learning, and sometimes the best laid plans don't work out. So we'll get back at it.
Awesome.
Have 50% casualties at least, and excellent violence of action, and liquids down to amber.
How'd your attack go?
I think the attack went quite well. I think I saw a lot more violence of action. We really tried to push very hard despite the terrain. And what I really liked is the independent action by unit members, that everybody they didn't wait for a central command. Everybody knew what to do and they acted on it.
Awesome.
You don't want to direct your combat power in 360 degrees, but you go, yeah, there's a 40 degree, I just want to direct my combat power that way. But they are going to make their own decisions, and there's nothing you can do to stop that. That's how they're going to survive, right? Okay, so excellent learning point. Squad leader is right. So Leo, what'd you learn?
Well, I'm going to kind of steal what that's kind of, our violence of action could have been a little better.
Okay.
When we took contact on the Alpha team, Bravo team could have maybe created more chaos. Oh shit, they're over here, or they're over here. And again, there's a lot of the things I learned was said already. Trying to navigate the guys through the different obstacles, and they tend to weave to avoid a briar patch or something. So other than that, I thought we did a pretty good job communicating.
Keep the command simple. Move, set, move, set, move, set. I mean, we stuck with those two commands for the majority of this exercise, and
You did good on that too.
the other thing was, I mean, similar to what Yudo said, is the terrain allowed for us to get too far apart. So there was a point where I had to call out to Leo. Leo, what's up? You know what I mean? We're like, where's Bravo? Where's the line? I asked a couple times, where's the line? I asked them, where's the line? And I mean, they were focused down range, so I'm like, all right, we'll move, okay? So I mean, the terrain makes it difficult to stay close, and then it's a lot to process. So just keep it simple when you're shouting down commands.
Absolutely. Keep it simple, stupid. Someone on this team, I heard the same thing. They said, our plan this time was much easier. Move till you see the bad guys, hit them over the head. I mean, you really need it simplistic because it's so complicated.
Too much shit.
And so complex in there. But what you're saying, keep the plan simple.
Upon completion of the force-on-force lane, a formation is held to award the new graduates of the Basic Warriors course with the One Shepherd patch and formally welcome them into the One Shepherd community.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. How's that head doing? You gonna survive? As long as he knows how to do it. As long as he knows how to do it. Go ahead and face about. Let's give him a round of applause, guys. Excellent. Welcome to One Shepherd. Welcome to One Shepherd.
Next on the agenda was the Situational Training Exercise, or STX. So now we are on day 3 of the spring 2019 training semester, and both the new graduates from the Basic Warriors course and the returning students in the Light Leaders course are combined to begin the STX. This STX would focus on 3 things: mobile defense, movement to contact, passage of lines. These periods of instruction are typically taught with a classroom portion followed by a practical application portion conducted in the field.
Charlie Company was way up north in that, and we're pushing south in that same valley. And they decided, whoa, this is not a good place to fight.
That practical application is generally in the form of a mission the students will be tasked with. But sometimes the instructors get creative and use alternative means to help convey material. Here, following a classroom portion over mobile defense, the students partake in an exercise that forces the students to apply some of the principles they just learned in the mobile defense class.
Oh, yes! Oh, bounce!
We're gonna go to the dance. We're gonna go to the dance.
Oh, he went into 2 rounds. 2 rounds. 2 rounds.
Moving up. 2 rounds.
Get him. Oh, he's down. Hey, whoa. Hey, hold up. Get him.
Got around. Okay, close information.
Yeah, of course. That's why you have an AG.
I'm throwing curveballs here.
We didn't know we were facing it, and so if we kept moving, they wouldn't have been able to.
You got two things. Okay. They have, I think it's 4 guns to your 1. But you should have already assessed that. Their guns shoot half the distance, and you can see that most of them have 3 or 5 round capacity. You can shoot twice their distance. You have a much higher capacity than them. You probably have the same darts as all of them combined.
Oh yeah, they're
Okay. Use that, and you have shields, and they do not.
Yeah.
Use that to your advantage and get moving. You guys came this, you probably advanced no farther in the fight. You have got to find those 5 boxes, guys. Use them. Violence of action, aggression, stay together, and move. You got to move you back.
Let's see what we got. Let me see how much ammo he's got.
In any case, during the Passage of Lines instruction segment, the students were tasked with conducting a night reconnaissance mission. The mission would encompass many aspects that the students had learned in both the Basic Warriors course and Light Leaders course. Here, one of the students who just completed the Light Leaders course was placed into the patrol leader role and is giving his op order to his guys. Following the op order, the students will roll immediately into rehearsals for the mission and pre-combat checks and inspections.
Our mission. First and second squad of Bravo Company, 1 Shepherd Regiment, will execute reconnaissance to our north, departing our base of operation no later than 20:30 tonight, in order to confirm or deny the presence of enemy in our area of operations. Bunching up.
Okay, so we're about half our daylight distance with our loom.
One of the best things I got to do while being an instructor was be Op 4 for the students. Here I waited on top of a hill that I knew was the students' limit of advance. Their mission was essentially to recon this area that I was set up in order to determine if there was an enemy presence there. Being on Op 4 gives the instructor a unique advantage in seeing things from the other side. For instance, here a patrol is moving towards the hill utilizing a tree line for cover. However, it's all for nothing because one guy in the patrol is walking around with his IR illuminator turned on and his NVGs. If you don't know what that means, it's like walking around with a flashlight on your head to anyone that's looking through night vision devices. Although it is not visible to the human eye, to an enemy with night vision capabilities, it's a huge target indicator for them. I then waited for the patrol to close into my kill zone. Once they got there, I wanted to simulate a larger force seeing them, so I popped up a flare before I opened up on them.
Did he move? GI, go home!
As you guys can see, the training provides a very unique opportunity and gives guys a safe place to fail where they can make mistakes and learn from them. The debriefs and hot washes that are conducted following these missions are absolutely vital for learning. Well, that's it, guys. That completes the Basic Warriors course of Situational Training Exercise for Bravo Company Spring Semester 2019. Next up is going to be the final culminating event at One Shepherd's training semester, and that is the Field Training Exercise. And for that, I will no longer be an instructor, but a participant who is tasked with being the patrol leader of the Blue 4 side. So stay tuned, guys, because part 2 will be coming down the pipe shortly. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment.